Shields up, Ironbreakers. We're kind of here coming at you with another video. Welcome back to Monster Hunter World Iceborne. And one of the things that I've been getting a lot of requests for recently has been Safi Sword and Shield builds. Now, one of the reasons behind this is probably because I started a new character on PC and I've been playing exclusively Sword and Shield and trying to master more advanced techniques of Sword and Shield. Some of you guys might be wondering, why did I start a fresh new character on PC? What's the deal with that? There will be a link on the top right-hand side of this video where you guys can check out why I did that. Most of you probably watched that video already though, so you know what is going on. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys my Safi Sword and Shield builds. However, it is important to give you guys a little bit of context as to why the builds are the way that they are. And one of the things that I've noticed is that starting over fresh with the Sword and Shield has kind of forced me to learn a lot of things in the game that I never really had to deal with, particularly in Master Rank. Because when I went in there with my gun lance, and particularly with all of the items that I had on console, where I just had, like, you know, tons of artillery decos, tons of stuff to really maximize the damage of my gun lance, basically I was able to kind of like tank my way through a lot of the mobs and just like stagger them and just like kind of brutalize a lot of the early game mobs in ways that you just can't do with the Sword and Shield unless you're geared up. And on the PC, I was not geared up at all. As a matter of fact, I never even finished World before Iceborne came out on the PC, which pretty much meant that I had to like build my character up from scratch. Like the stuff that I had from playing World, like I hadn't even finished the game. So just like forget about it. There's no good decos, there's no good armor sets, there was nothing there. I had to literally start everything pretty much from scratch. And that has taught me a lot of things. Now, one of the things that you get to early on in Master Rank, if you've already finished the game, is like, at least if you're someone like me, you're like, okay, I gotta come up with something to deal with sharpness. This whole stopping the sharpen thing just is not my scene. So the first set that I wanted to get was Nargacuga, right? So you want to get Nargacuga because that reduces the rate at which you lose sharpness, and it's one of the earliest sets that you can get that kind of deals with sharpness stuff. So I went ahead and I got 3-piece Nargacuga to get true razor sharp spare shot. Now the thing about the Nargacuga pieces is that there's a lot of evade window on Nargacuga pieces. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to get the ones that got evade window because I'm not being able to get as many openings as I usually get with the weapons that I tend to play. So I might as well try to dodge stuff. And using evade window coupled together with the fact that my weapon was not that powerful has really changed the way in which I approach the game. I believe that currently in my evolution of skills, so to speak, evade window is kind of becoming a bit of a crutch that I might have to overcome at some point, but I'm not quite there yet. But that should explain to you why I'm currently placing as much value as I do on evade window in some of the sets that I will be showing you. So the experience that I've brought from the PC has actually ended up changing the sets that I had made before I went to the PC, and they look a little bit different now, and I haven't really put them through the ringer completely. But I just did the weeklies earlier today, and I went against Tempered Silver Los, and the sets are working pretty damn sweet. I'll tell you that right now. Pretty friggin' sweet. So let's talk about it. First, we have the raw Sword and Shield set. There's also going to be a elemental Sword and Shield set, and the good thing about these sets is that they're going to be using the same armor pieces. So if you end up making these sets, you're not going to have to invest yourself in completely different armor sets. You can both play raw or elemental using the same set, and I will try to explain to the best of my ability why I did the things that I did. Now, on the raw set, we're going to be using Safi's Shatter Fang. As you guys can expect, the blast version of Safi's Sword and Shield. Now, the stats don't really matter that much. We're just going to go over the awakened abilities as well as the augmentations, right? So we got Teostra's technique and then a whole lot of attack. And when it comes to augmentations, you're going to be augmenting your weapons all the same way as well, for at least for my type of build, which is you're going to get yourself an affinity increase, health regen, and element status effect up. Looking at the build itself, you guys will notice that we have 2 Teostra pieces to complete the Teostra Master's Touch that we put on the weapon. Those pieces are going to be the Van Bracers and the Kaiser Coil. The Van Bracers because they have the weakness exploit, and they also have decent slots, and the Kaiser Coil because it's got the best slots of any Teostra piece, pretty much. And on top of it, the blast attack from the Kaiser Coil is actually not going to go to waste because we are using a blast weapon, so that's pretty good. And then we have 3 pieces of Safi'Jiiva, naturally, because I want to get that additional affinity on there, as well as the additional blast damage. The blast damage in this particular case is kind of like whatever, but it also allowed me to basically have the same armor set for both my raw build and the elemental build, which personally I kind of like. Now, on Safi's Shatterfang itself, we're going to be putting a Brace / Vitality. This is kind of like a free slot for those of you that play exclusively solo, but because I play multiplayer, you know, when you're playing multiplayer with Sword and Shield, anybody even sneezes in your general direction, and your character just sits down and is like, no, I can't attack, someone sneezed. I mean, if you've been watching the streams that I've been doing on the PC side of things, where I had to play Sword and Shield with Kegren playing dual blades, and I did not have a Brace Deco, that was a nightmare, okay? A complete nightmare. But anyway, continuing onwards, on the Safi Crested Crown, we have Challenger Jewel +4. I know these are rare. If you don't have a +4, then put Challenger with something else on there. This is just to increase your damage, so, you know, if you can get a +4, great. If you can't get a +4, it's not the end of the world. Just get Challenger plus something, right? Then you got a Vitality Jewel, an Expert Jewel. Then on the Crested Chest, we have Challenger Jewel +4 and another Challenger Jewel. This is going to max out Agitator. Then on the Van Braces, we got a whole bunch of Coalescence in the form of Phoenix Maintenance. I would actually prefer to have Phoenix Evasion on here, but I just don't have Phoenix Evasion, unfortunately. I only have one of them. But maintenance is not that bad because it's going to reduce the downtime on my Evasion Mantle. So, you know, you take the good with the bad, right? Then we also have another Phoenix Deco, and on the Kaiser Coil we got Phoenix Evasion. We have another Evasion decoration in there. You guys can see that Evasion influence kind of like creeping in, like I'm really getting addicted to the dodges, right? And then we have another Expert Deco, and on the Safi Crested Boots we have Tenderizer Vitality Jewel 4, a KO Jewel, and an Expert Jewel 1. Now that KO Jewel is very much a free slot. You can put whatever you want on there. The reason I put a KO Jewel is because I like using my shield a lot. I realize that a lot of people that play Sword and Shield, they prefer going for the big sword hits and they don't use the shield as much. But me, I love smashing monster face with shield, so I like to have a KO Deco in there, but you can replace it with something else if you don't like that idea, right? We wrap everything up in the set with a Master's Charm 4 to max out our Critical Eye. And then we have the Evasion Mantle with 2 Evasion Jewels. Again, if you are better at evading than I am, you might not need those additional Evasion Jewels, considering that in the set itself, you're already going to be having like 3 Evasion. So maybe you don't need that. Maybe I will even replace these in time. But for now, I'm just going to put all of the Evasion in there so that I have the maximum comfiness possible. But you can replace that with something else that you really want. Although, to be honest, I can't really think of any Tier 2 deco I'd like to have there. Maybe more KO? I don't know, dude. Whatever you want to put in there, you can put in whatever you want. Then we got Temporal Mantle with 2 Maintenance Jewels. The purpose of this is to allow you to basically get that initial opening on the monster, because sometimes you're fighting monsters and they're like super aggressive early on and you can't get your Clutch Claw going and all that stuff. The Temporal Mantle just ensures that, like, look, here's my opening, I'm gonna claw into your face, you can't get me away, and I'm gonna slam you into this wall, and then you get your initial opening to really get started on the monster. That's kind of like what I tend to use the Temporal Mantle for. Or sometimes the monster's enraged being real annoying and boom, Temporal Mantle comes out and I can just go balls out. So these are the 2 mantles that I really like using, okay? An alternative to that is if you don't want to use the Evasion Mantle for whatever reason, you can use the Airborne Mantle, which will also give you, is it Airborne? I don't remember the name of the actual mantle. You guys know the one I'm talking about, the floaty mantle. You can use that one instead and you can get a bunch more decoration slots because you can keep that thing up pretty much almost permanently, so it's pretty damn good that way. Now, looking at the final build, we got Critical Eye level 7, Agitator level 5, Health Boost level 3, Critical Boost level 3, Evade Window level 3 or 5 when you have your Evasion Mantle up, making it fairly easy to get your Evasion Mantle buff. Coalescence level 3, Blast Attack level 2, Weakness Exploit level 2, and you guys are going to be like, whoa, 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 whoa. Weakness Exploit level 2? What's up with that level 3 Rurikon? What's going on there? Especially when you have so many free slots. Just put the 3rd slot in there. Well, the reasoning is you're already at 75% affinity when you just draw your weapon. Just for drawing your weapon, you're going to be at 75% affinity. So you don't really need an additional 50% to reach 100. You only need 25. Now with weakness exploit, if you wound, you're going to be at plus 30, right? Which is going to put you at 105 crit if you wound the weak spot. If you don't wound the weak spot, however, you still have Agitator, and most of the time the monster is going to be enraged because you should be slamming it into walls whenever he's not enraged, right? So most of the time the monster's enraged and you get an additional 10%. So even if you don't wound, if you simply hit a weak spot, you're still looking at 100% crit, okay? So you don't really need that third point in weakness exploit, in my opinion. If you want it, get it. Sure, whatever, dude. Go crazy. Get 200% affinity if you want to. I just don't think that last point, weakness exploit, is needed in this particular build. Then you got Heat Guard coming in from the Kaiser Vambrace. You got level 1 Blight Resistance. You got level 1 Slugger, level 1 Flinch Free, and level 1 Tool Specialist, or level 3 Tool Specialist while your Temporal Mantle is up. So you can also use your Temporal Mantle to reduce the timing on the Evasion Mantle. Whether or not that's going to be super useful depends on when you use it, but these are the decos that I put in. And naturally, when it comes to set bonuses, you have Master's Touch and Dragon Vein Awakening 3-piece. What do you guys think about it? Let me know in the comment section down below. And now onwards to the Elemental build. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you the dragon example of the build, but basically what you have to do is you have to swap to a different element in the weapon, and then you have to swap the decorations around to match the element of that weapon. But this is very much a modular set where just like you replace the elemental stuff and you get for all the elements that you could possibly want, okay? So, like I said, we are doing the dragon version, so we're going to be using Safi's Drakfang. And once again, the stats on the weapon don't really matter. What matter is the awakened abilities, and we have Teostra's Technique once again because I like the comfiness that Teostra brings. We got Element up 5 and Element up 6, and then 2 attack up 5s. And this might confuse you guys a little bit because you guys, but this is an elemental set. We'll get to that. Taking a look at the augmentations, you got Affinity Increase, Health Regen, and Element Status Effect up. Okay, so now let's talk about this attack increase. You guys are like, well, I mean, if it's an elemental set, why don't you just max out your element? Because a lot of the moves in the sword and shield include the shield. And the shield does not receive bonus damage from the element of the weapon. Therefore, if you want your shield to deal respectable damage, it's going to have to come from raw and not necessarily just elemental. So those attack ups there are there to just make sure that my shield is still hitting hard. Now, there's a lot of people that are not going to like this because I know that a lot of people actually like to skip the shield part of the sword and shield. I'm not one of those people, okay? I want my shield to hit hard. I want that when I hit my shield on the monster's face, the monster actually feels it. But hey, if you're the type of guy that wants to go full element, you can replace the attack increases for element ups and, you know, go to town and just don't use your shield for damage. It's just, I don't like that a percentage of my attacks is not going to deal significant damage because I'm not willing to invest in that portion of the attack, if that makes sense. Anyways, taking a look at the build itself, on Safi's Drakfang, you're going to be putting Dragon Jewel +4, Safi's Crested Crown. Like I said, this is the same build in terms of like armor pieces. The only thing that changes are the decorations. On the Crested Crown, you go Dragon Jewel +4 and 2 Dragon Jewels, and those are all of the elemental decorations that you need, okay? From that point on, it's like you want the water version of this, then get Safi's Aquafang and put Stream Jewels +4 and 2 Stream Jewels. You can meld the 2 Stream Jewels, and the +4 elemental jewels are dropping like candy right now. There are no excuses not to have these decos, okay? They are literally dropping like candy. Don't even come at me with your excuse about, oh, I don't have that deco. It's like these decos are dropping a lot right now. People are complaining like, all I get is these these double element decos. Like, it's like these are dropping a lot. Okay, so please don't give me a hard time on these. Anyways, then on the Crested Crest, we have Phoenix Protection and Tenderizer Jewel 2. Then we have on the Vambraces Phoenix Evasion and Phoenix Level 3. Once again, if I had another Phoenix Evasion, that's probably what I would end up putting there. Instead of the protection one. It's just I need to get another Phoenix Evasion. The Kaiser Coil, Brace Vitality, Tenderizer Jewel 2, Vitality Jewel Level 1. And then on Safi's Crested Boots, Vitality, not Vitality, Expert Jewel 4, Evasion Jewel 2, Expert Jewel 1. And then we have a Master's Charm once again, wrapping things up. And an Evasion Mantle with 2 Evasion Decos. If you get a Phoenix Evasion, you can replace this Evasion Deco maybe with a KO to boost your shield. Or if you don't want KO, you can get Resentment or Agitator. Or if you don't want Evasion at all, you can just replace those with stuff that gives you either Agitator or Resentment. Take your pick, right? And then you have the Temporal Mantle once again to generate those early openings in the monster. Looking at the finalized build, you have all of your usual suspects with Critical Eye 7, Critical Boost 3, Weakness Exploit, Evade Win level 5 if you have your Evasion Mantle up, and level 3 if you do not. Coalescence level 3, you got Health Boost 2, which I'm not sure if you can get Health Boost 3 up in this build. It might be a little bit challenging. You got your Blast Attack 2, which is useless, comes from Kaiser's Coil. You know, it's just there because, you know, you want to get the 3-piece Teostra. You got Heat Guard, Blind Resistance 1, Divine Blessing 1, Flinch Free 1. Then you also have Teostra's Technique, Master's Touch, and Dragon Vein Awakening. And these are like my two main Safi Sword and Shield sets. There were a couple of more, but due to the fact that my experience on the PC has greatly changed the way I play Sword and Shield, I'm probably going to be changing quite a few of my Sword and Shield sets around to suit my new playstyle, which basically means include a little bit more of evasion at least. Basically, these are the ones that I will be using. There are actually 6 sets because there's like 5 different variations on the Elemental version, but you guys get the point. Let me know what you guys think about these sets in the comment section down below. If this video helped you, if you liked this video, make sure to hit the like button because it helps me out a lot. If you did not like this video, if you think my build sucked, then make sure to hit the dislike button because feedback is important. Feedback which you can also leave in the comment section down below. If you enjoy my content, subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, yada yada yada, the usual stuff. I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay strong and may your shields never break.